What if I told you that the life you are currently living is not a series of random events, but a precise mathematical reflection of 12 invisible forces? Most people go through life like a person trying to play a high-stakes game without ever reading the rulebook. They struggle, they hustle, and they wonder why the secret didn't work for them. They focus on the law of attraction, thinking it's the only law that matters. But that is like trying to drive a car with only one wheel. The truth is, the law of attraction is just law number 3. There are 11 other powerful, ancient, and scientific principles that determine whether you succeed or fail, whether you live in abundance or remain trapped in a cycle of not enough. Welcome to this comprehensive audiobook of 12 laws of the universe. If you have been practicing manifestations, writing down affirmations, or trying to visualize your dream life with no results, you are about to find the missing link. In this book, we peel back the curtain on the full system. We go beyond the surface-level trends and dive into the foundational mechanics of reality, from the law of divine oneness to the law of gender. As the legendary Nikola Tesla once said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This audiobook is your manual for doing exactly that. We aren't just talking about wishing for things to happen. We are talking about aligning your internal frequency with the external results you desire. You will learn why the law of action is the mandatory bridge between your thoughts and your reality, and how the law of polarity can help you turn your darkest challenges into your greatest advantages. Whether you are looking to manifest financial freedom, heal your relationships, or simply understand your place in this vast, interconnected cosmos, these 12 laws provide the blueprint. By the time we finish the final chapter, you won't just be a dreamer. You will be a conscious creator of your own destiny. Before we dive into the transformative power of Chapter 1, I have a small request. If you believe in the power of spreading positive energy and wisdom, please like this video and share this audiobook with your friends, family, or on your social media. By doing so, you help this message reach the people who truly need it right now. Your engagement helps the algorithm find those who are searching for these answers. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. The Law of Divine Oneness. Imagine, if you will, a single golden thread, shimmering with a light that has no beginning and no end, weaving its way through the fabric of every star in the sky, every drop of water in the ocean, and every cell in your own body. Because, my friends, the journey we are embarking upon today begins with the profound realization that you are not an isolated island in a vast sea of chaos, but a vital, pulsating note in a grand, universal symphony. We often move through our days feeling disconnected, separate from the success we crave or the peace we seek. Yet the very first truth of our existence is that everything in this universe is inextricably linked by a singular, divine energy, a realization that shifts our entire perspective from one of competition and lack to one of infinite support and resonance. When I speak of this interconnectedness, I am inviting you to look past the physical boundaries of your skin and see that every thought you broadcast and every action you take ripples outward, touching the lives of others and the very structure of reality itself. Much like a pebble tossed into a still lake creates rings that eventually reach the distant shore, because in the realm of the spirit, there is no me versus them. There is only the collective flow of source energy. This is the foundation of our mastery, the understanding that we are all part of one grand, living organism. And as we begin to breathe in this truth, we realize that helping another is truly helping ourselves, and harming another is a wound we inflict upon our own soul, a concept that brings a deep, grounded sense of responsibility to our manifestation practice. As you sit with this idea of oneness, my friends, consider the words of the great scientist and visionary Nikola Tesla, who reminded us that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, Think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a sentiment that perfectly mirrors this ancient wisdom of our inherent unity. This energy Tesla spoke of is the very glue of the cosmos, a divine intelligence that flows through the coffee you drink, the chair you sit in, and the dreams you whisper to the night sky, meaning that your desires are not far away in some distant future, but are already part of the same energy field you inhabit right now. When you look at a stranger on the street or a tree in the park, you are essentially looking at another version of the same stardust that forms your own being, which is why your intuition often hums when you enter a room or meet someone new. You are simply recognizing a different frequency of the same divine source. This paradigm shift is essential for anyone seeking abundance in the United States or anywhere else in the world, because it moves us away from the exhausting hustle of trying to get things from the outside and moves us toward the elegant process of becoming the person who is already in alignment with those gifts. By embracing this awareness, you begin to see that your personal growth is not just a solo project for your own benefit, but a contribution to the elevation of the entire world, because as you raise your own internal vibration, you naturally pull the collective frequency higher with you. It is a beautiful, heavy truth to realize that you are never truly alone in your struggles or your triumphs, as the law of divine oneness ensures that the universe is always listening, always responding, and always reflecting your internal state back to you through the people and circumstances you encounter. Friends, think of the ripple effect of a single kind word or a focused, positive affirmation. It doesn't just stop at the person who hears it. It travels through the invisible web of our shared existence, changing the energetic landscape of your day and the days of those around you. This is where we begin to break our old, subconscious patterns of feeling small or powerless by recognizing that we have the entire power of the universe backing us, provided we act in harmony with this sense of oneness rather than against it. As this sense of deep connection settles into your heart, you might start to feel a subtle shift in your physical body, a warming sensation or a sudden clarity, which is your internal resonance acknowledging that you have finally found the missing link that makes manifestation actually work. You see, when we try to manifest from a place of separation, thinking we need to take or win at the expense of others, we create resistance in the energy field. But when we manifest through the lens of oneness, our goals become a natural extension of the universe's desire to expand and flourish through us. This is the secret to true life mastery, realizing that you are both the painter and the canvas, both the observer and the observed, and that every bit of beauty you see in the world is a reflection of the beauty you carry within. This realization naturally begins to dissolve the walls of anxiety and fear that often haunt our modern lives, replacing them with a calm, philosophical trust that everything is moving in perfect, divine order because you are a part of that order, not an outsider looking in. As you walk through your world after hearing these words, I want you to practice seeing the invisible threads that connect you to everything, to the wealth you desire, the health you seek, and the love you deserve, and notice how your perspective on challenges begins to transform. Instead of seeing a barrier as a dead end, you will start to see it as a temporary reorganization of energy, a moment where the universe is asking you to refine your focus and remember your divine origin. You are a conscious creator, a master of frequency, and your journey has only just begun to unfold in this continuous stream of becoming, as the awareness of your unity with the source energy begins to turn the key in the lock of your highest potential. Feel the weight of this empowerment, my friends. Let it ground you and lift you simultaneously, knowing that as we move forward together, every step we take is onto a path that was already paved with the very light you are made of. This sense of peace, this profound inner quiet, is the gateway to the next evolution of your soul, where your thoughts and reality begin to dance in perfect, effortless harmony. Chapter 2. The Law of Vibration. As we allow that profound sense of oneness to settle into the very marrow of our bones, realizing that we are not merely in the universe, but that the universe is actually expressing itself through us, we must begin to look closer at the invisible pulse that makes this connection possible. Because, my friends, the silence of the void is actually a symphony of movement that never truly rests. If everything is one, then the language that this oneness speaks is not words or symbols, but the language of a constant, shivering motion that we call the law of vibration, a fundamental truth which dictates that nothing in our reality is truly solid or static, but is instead composed of millions of subatomic particles dancing at specific speeds. Think of the solid oak table in your room or the smartphone in your hand. Though they appear still to your eyes, they are actually a buzzing hive of energy, vibrating with a frequency so unique that it defines their very existence. Just as your thoughts and emotions carry their own distinct energetic signature that broadcasts who you are to the cosmos every single second. This realization is the key to mastering your reality, because once you understand that you are a vibrational being living in a vibrational universe, you stop trying to push the world and start learning how to tune into it, moving from a state of constant struggle into a state of effortless resonance where the things you desire begin to gravitate toward you simply because you have matched their frequency. It is here, in this shimmering field of movement, that we recall the profound insight of the great Nikola Tesla, who famously noted that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. A reminder that is as much about modern physics as it is about ancient spiritual mastery. My friends, your emotional state is essentially your vibrational meter. And when you feel joy, gratitude, or love, your frequency is high, light, and expansive, making you a magnet for circumstances that mirror that elevation. Whereas when you dwell in fear, guilt, or anger, your vibration becomes heavy and dense, pulling you into alignment with more of the same low-frequency experiences. This isn't just positive thinking in the way we often hear it discussed. This is a literal law of the universe that states that two things vibrating at different frequencies cannot occupy the same space for long, which is why when you raise your internal vibration, the people, habits, and obstacles that no longer resonate with that higher state naturally begin to fall away from your life without you having to force them out. Imagine your life as a radio receiver. If you want to hear the music of abundance and health, you cannot remain tuned to the frequency of lack and illness, just as you cannot hear a jazz station if your dial is set to rock and roll. And so your primary job in this reality is not to labor in the physical world until you are exhausted, but to maintain the highest possible vibration within yourself. When you choose an empowering thought over a limiting one, or when you spend time in nature to reset your nervous system, you are literally changing the speed at which your energy spins, and the universe, being a perfect mirror of your frequency, has no choice but to respond by shifting the physical circumstances of your world to match your new state. This awareness creates a massive paradigm shift for those of us seeking mastery, because it gives us a concrete tool to navigate life's challenges. Whenever you feel stuck, you don't ask, "What do I do?" but rather, "How do I shift my frequency?" Knowing that the solution to every problem exists at a higher vibration than the problem itself. Friends, as you move through your day, start to pay attention to the hum of your own energy and the energy of the environments you enter, noticing how some places feel heavy while others feel electric, because your intuition is simply your soul sensing these frequencies before your mind can even categorize them. This constant movement is what allows for the manifestation of your dreams, because nothing is fixed, everything is in a state of becoming, meaning that the you who is successful and fulfilled already exists as a frequency that you can tune into right now through the power of your awareness and emotion. You are essentially an architect of energy, and by consciously choosing to dwell in the vibrations of your desired outcome, feeling the relief, the pride, and the peace of your goals as if they are already here, you are collapsing the distance between where you are and where you want to be. This is the bridge between the spiritual and the material, the understanding that your physical reality is just a slowed-down version of your vibrational state. And as you learn to hold your frequency steady even when the world around you seems chaotic, you become an unshakable force of creation. As this truth sinks in, you begin to realize that you are never truly stuck in any situation, because as soon as you change your vibration, the situation must change, just as ice must turn to water and then to steam as its molecular vibration increases with heat. This sense of fluidity brings a deep, calm confidence to your manifestation journey, removing the desperation that often blocks our desires and replacing it with a grounded knowing that you are the master of the dial. You are no longer at the mercy of luck or fate, but are instead a conscious participant in the great cosmic dance, realizing that every word you speak and every silent intention you hold is a vibrational seed planted in the fertile field of the infinite. Let this feeling of empowerment wash over you like a warm wave, my friends, recognizing that the power to transform your life is not a distant goal, but a present frequency you are choosing in this very breath. This internal resonance is the true source of your well-being and success, a silent power that hums beneath the surface of everything you see, guiding you toward a life of profound abundance and peace as you finally learn to walk in step with the pulse of the stars. Chapter 3. The Law of Attraction. As we allow the understanding of our own vibrational signature to take root, realizing that we are not just passive observers, but active broadcasters in a field of infinite potential, we begin to see how this constant hum of energy acts as a silent beacon, calling out to the universe and demanding a response in kind. If the law of vibration is the engine of our existence, then what we commonly recognize as the law of attraction is the magnetic pull that brings the results of that vibration into our physical reality, acting as an impartial mirror that reflects back to us exactly what we are projecting, rather than merely what we are wishing for. We often move through our lives, my friends, believing that we are chasing after success, wealth, or love, but the profound truth hidden within this universal mechanic is that nothing is truly out there to be caught. Instead, everything we experience is a vibrational match that we have invited into our space through the quality of our inner state. Imagine yourself standing in a vast, darkened hall filled with thousands of tuning forks of every imaginable size and pitch, and the moment you strike the fork within your own heart, every other fork in that room that shares your specific frequency begins to ring out in a beautiful, inevitable resonance, because the universe does not respond to your words or your needs, but to the actual energy you embody. This is where many of us have felt the sting of frustration in the past, perhaps trying to manifest abundance while secretly nursing a deep-seated fear of lack, or reciting affirmations of health while our subconscious mind is anchored in the vibration of illness. Yet as the visionary Nikola Tesla so eloquently reminded us, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Friends, the law of attraction is not a magic trick or a reward for good behavior. It is a mechanical certainty, an energetic gravity that ensures like always attracts like. Meaning that if you want to change the harvest of your life, you must first change the vibrational seeds you are sowing in the fertile soil of your mind. You are essentially a living magnet, and every thought you hold with emotion becomes a signal that travels across the interconnected web of oneness we explored earlier, searching for its vibrational equivalent and pulling it toward you with a force that is as real as the Earth's pull on the moon. This is why the rich often get richer and the joyful find more reasons to smile, not because of luck, but because they have cultivated a baseline frequency that the universe is legally bound to match with corresponding physical evidence. As you sit with this awareness, my friends, I want you to feel the weight of your own power, realizing that the law of attraction is actually a secondary law, a servant to your own internal vibration, which means that the secret to manifestation is not in the asking, but in the becoming. When you shift your paradigm from I want to I am, you are no longer sending out a signal of lack, which only attracts more lack, but are instead broadcasting a signal of fulfillment that forces the physical world to rearrange itself to support your new reality. Think of the dreams you hold, those visions of success and well-being that dance in your mind, and recognize that they are not fantasies of a distant future, but energetic potentials that are already vibrating in the field, simply waiting for you to tune your frequency high enough to perceive and receive them. This requires a deep, conscious awareness of your emotional climate, because your emotions are the fuel for your manifestation, the high-octane energy that gives your intentions the power to cross the bridge from the metaphysical realm into the concrete world of your daily experience. Friends, notice how this changes your perspective on the challenges you face. Instead of seeing a setback as a sign that the universe is against you, you can now view it as a vibrational feedback loop, an invitation to check your frequency and see where you might be holding on to a resonance of resistance. In the fast-paced, high-achievement culture of the United States, we are often taught to grind and hustle, but the law of attraction teaches us that no amount of physical action can compensate for a misaligned vibration, and that the most productive thing you can do for your success is to cultivate an inner state of peace, gratitude, and abundance before you ever take a single step. By doing so, you ensure that every action you take is aligned action, moving with the current of the universe rather than swimming against it, allowing your goals to manifest with a sense of grace and ease that can feel almost miraculous to the untrained eye. You are learning to master the art of deliberate creation, recognizing that your life is a cinematic masterpiece that you are simultaneously writing, directing, and starring in, with every scene carefully selected by the magnetic pull of your soul's frequency. As this realization deepens, you may find that the old, subconscious patterns of doubt begin to dissolve, replaced by a grounded, empowering sense of certainty that as long as you hold the vibration of your desire, the manifestation is a mathematical certainty. You don't need to know how the universe will deliver your abundance. You only need to focus on the what and the why, maintaining a resonance of unwavering faith that is so strong it becomes a fact in your heart long before it appears in your hands. This is the true meaning of intuition, your ability to sense the frequency of your coming success and follow the breadcrumbs of resonance that the universe lays out for you. My friends, feel the relief that comes with knowing you are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a master of attraction, a divine architect who understands that the materials of your future are already present in the energetic atmosphere surrounding you right now. Let this awareness breathe through you, calming your nervous system and expanding your vision, as you recognize that the very air you breathe is thick with the potential for everything you have ever dreamed of. You are not waiting for the world to change so that you can feel better. You are feeling better so that the world has no choice but to change, and in that subtle but massive shift of focus, you have claimed the keys to the kingdom. As we move forward in this continuous journey of discovery, carry this magnetic confidence with you, knowing that every breath is an opportunity to retune your instrument, and every thought is a chance to call forth a new and more beautiful reality. This is your birthright, a life of profound resonance and overflowing abundance, and it is manifesting for you in this very moment, as surely as the sun rises to meet the dawn. Chapter 4. The Law of Correspondence. As the magnetic pull of your inner world begins to draw in the circumstances, people, and opportunities that vibrate in harmony with your soul, You may start to wonder why certain patterns in your life seem to repeat with such persistent clarity, leading us to look past the surface of things and into the profound, ancient mirror that is the law of correspondence. If the law of attraction is the magnetic force that gathers your reality, then correspondence is the divine blueprint that explains the why and the how behind everything you see around you, establishing a sacred bridge between the seen and the unseen, the micro and the macro, and most importantly, the world within you and the world outside of you. My friends, we often fall into the trap of believing that our external environment is a chaotic, independent force that happens to us. But the truth is that your outer life is a direct, pixel-for-pixel reflection of your inner mental paradigm, meaning that every frustration, every triumph, and every limitation you encounter in the physical realm is simply a shadow cast by the light of your own subconscious beliefs. Imagine standing before a majestic, crystal-clear mountain lake at dawn. If the water is turbulent and muddy within, the reflection of the towering peaks will appear distorted and broken. But if the water is still and pure, the reflection becomes indistinguishable from the reality itself. And so it is with your life, where the chaos or the peace you experience in your career, your relationships, and your bank account is merely the universe holding up a mirror to the state of your own heart. It is within this hall of mirrors that we find the most famous articulation of this truth, rooted in the ancient Hermetic wisdom that states, "As above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul," a phrase that reminds us, my friends, that the same mathematical precision that moves the planets through the heavens is also at work within the very atoms of your being. This means that if you want to understand the vast mysteries of the cosmos, you need only look into the depths of your own awareness. And conversely, if you wish to change the trajectory of your life in the United States or anywhere else, you must stop trying to manipulate the reflection and start healing the source. This realization is the ultimate key to self-help and manifestation, because it removes the need for struggle in the outer world and replaces it with the work of inner alignment. Recognizing that trying to change your life by changing your circumstances is as futile as standing in front of a bathroom mirror and trying to wash the smudge off the glass instead of wiping it off your own face. Friends, think of the mental paradigms you carry, those deep-seated stories about what you deserve, what is possible, and who you are, and notice how they act as a projector lens for your reality. If the lens is scratched with thoughts of lack or unworthiness, the movie of your life will inevitably be filled with scenes of scarcity, no matter how hard you work or how many affirmations you speak. The law of correspondence acts as a diagnostic tool for your spiritual growth, providing you with constant, real-time feedback on your internal vibration, so that when you see discord in your external world, you don't react with anger or fear, but with a grounded, insightful awareness that says, here is a part of my inner world that is calling for more love, more order, and more light. This paradigm shift is incredibly empowering for the modern seeker because it gives you total agency over your experience. You are no longer a victim of a bad economy or difficult people, but a master architect who understands that by rearranging the furniture of your mind, you are literally redesigning the architecture of your destiny. As you walk through your day, my friends, I invite you to look at your surroundings not as static objects, but as living symbols of your internal frequency. Is your home cluttered, reflecting a cluttered mind? Are your relationships strained, reflecting a lack of self-compassion? Or is there a growing sense of abundance and flow, reflecting your increasing resonance with the divine source? This constant correspondence is the universe's way of guiding you back to your center, using the physical world as a training ground for your intuition and a canvas for your manifestation, teaching you that the macrocosm of your life is always a perfect replica of the microcosm of your soul. When you take the time to cultivate inner peace, to practice meditation, and to consciously choose thoughts of high vibration, you are sending a signal to the universe that you are ready for your outer world to reflect that same serenity and success. And the law of correspondence ensures that the reflection has no choice but to follow. This deep, interconnected harmony is what allows for true life mastery. Because once you master the internal, the external becomes a playground of your own creation, where you can move with the confidence of someone who knows that the outer and the inner are actually one and the same. Let this truth sink into your subconscious, allowing it to dissolve the old, heavy patterns of blame and powerlessness, and replacing them with a reflective, calm certainty that you hold the brush to your own reality. You are a divine mirror, friends, and as you polish the surface of your spirit with gratitude and awareness, you will find that the world begins to glow with a new, radiant light, showing you a life of abundance and well-being that you previously thought was impossible, but which was actually waiting within you all along. This is the sacred dance of the universe, the eternal echo of the soul, and as you learn to listen to your own internal rhythm, you will find that the stars themselves begin to beat in time with your heart, guiding you home to the mastery you were born to achieve. Chapter 5. The Law of Action. As you begin to see your life as a grand reflection of your inner temple, realizing that the world around you is constantly shifting to mirror the light or shadows you hold within, you might feel a sense of profound stillness, a quiet knowing that your vibration and your magnetic pull are the architects of your fate. But, my friends, this is where many seekers find themselves standing at a beautiful but silent crossroads, holding a vision in their hearts while their feet remain rooted in the same spot. It is a common struggle in our modern world to believe that if we just dream big enough, if we just polish the mirror of our soul and hold the frequency of abundance, the universe will simply drop our desires into our laps like ripe fruit from a tree. Yet there is a vital, kinetic force that must breathe life into these mental images, a force that acts as the physical manifestation of your internal faith. This is the law of action, the essential bridge that connects the ethereal world of your thoughts with the concrete world of your experiences, reminding us that while our inner vibration sets the destination, it is our movement that fuels the journey, because the universe is not just a witness to our dreams, it is a partner in our efforts, rewarding those who are willing to back their spiritual resonance with tangible, physical commitment. Imagine, my friends, a majestic ship sitting in a harbor with its sails perfectly set to catch the wind of the law of attraction, its compass aligned with the law of correspondence, and its hull vibrating with the energy of success. But as long as the anchor remains buried in the seabed, that ship will never reach the distant shores of its potential. And so it is with our lives. We must be the ones to weigh the anchor, to man the oars, and to move into the current of life with a sense of purpose and alacrity. In this space of inspired movement, we find a profound echo of the wisdom shared by the legendary Nikola Tesla, who taught us that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a truth that applies not just to the thoughts we think, but to the very molecules of our bodies as they move through space. You see, action is simply energy in motion, a physical frequency that signals to the universe that you are serious about your manifestation. And as you take that first, perhaps trembling step toward your goal, you are actually intensifying your vibration, making your signal so loud and clear that the cosmos has no choice but to rush in and support you. Friends, we often wait for the perfect moment or for a sign that the path is clear, but the law of action teaches us that the path only reveals itself to those who are already walking, and that the universe saves its most miraculous coincidences for the people who are actively engaged in the pursuit of their highest calling. This is the aligned action that we speak of. It is not the frantic, exhausted hustle of the ego trying to force things to happen, but rather the graceful, intuitive movement of a soul that knows it is supported by universal intelligence, where every step feels like a natural extension of the peace you have cultivated within. Think of the goals you have set for yourself, the abundance you are calling in, and the healing you are manifesting, and ask yourself, my friends, what is the physical equivalent of that internal state? Because if you are manifesting wealth but acting from a place of stinginess or fear, you are sending a mixed signal that stalls the process of creation. The law of action requires you to act as if your success is already a fact, which means making the phone calls, writing the pages, or taking the risks that a successful version of you would naturally take, thereby closing the gap between the person you are and the person you are becoming. In the fast-paced landscape of the United States, we are often overwhelmed by the idea of massive, life-altering effort. But the true power of this law lies in the small, consistent, and inspired steps that build a momentum so strong it becomes an unstoppable force of nature. Every time you take an action that aligns with your vision, you are practicing a form of living prayer, a concrete demonstration of your trust in the interconnectedness of all things, showing the universe that you are ready to receive the abundance you have been vibrating toward. As you begin to integrate this kinetic wisdom into your daily awareness, you will notice a shift in how you perceive challenges. Instead of seeing a hurdle as a reason to stop, you will see it as an opportunity to refine your action, to adjust your sails, and to demonstrate your resilience to the source energy that flows through you. Friends, this is where the ripple effect becomes truly visible in your life, because when you move, the world around you must move in response, creating a cascade of events and lucky breaks that are actually the direct result of your willingness to be a participant in your own evolution. You are no longer waiting for permission to succeed. You are giving yourself permission by engaging with the physical world as a playground for your spirit, realizing that your intuition is the compass that tells you where to go, but your feet are the tools that take you there. This realization brings a grounded, empowering sense of agency to your personal growth, as you understand that the universe doesn't do things to you or even just for you. It does things through you, using your hands, your voice, and your movement as the instruments of its divine expansion. Let this feeling of active partnership settle into your heart, my friends, dissolving the old, subconscious patterns of procrastination and passivity that may have held you back in the past, and replacing them with a calm, philosophical excitement for the work ahead. You are a master of reality creation, and as you learn to balance the stillness of your inner meditation with the movement of your outer manifestation, you become an unshakable force of well-being and success. There is a beautiful, rhythmic resonance that occurs when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are all singing the same song, a harmony that opens doors you didn't even know existed and draws in resources from the most unexpected places. As we move forward together, remember that every choice to act is a choice to grow, and every step taken in faith is a declaration of your divine worthiness, moving you closer and closer to the life of abundance that has been waiting for your arrival. This is the sacred dance of creation, a journey where the destination is already within you, but the joy is found in the walk. And as you move with the confidence of one who is backed by the laws of the stars, you will find that the universe is not just meeting you halfway, it is walking right beside you every step of the way. Chapter 6. The Law of Cause and Effect. As your feet find their rhythm on this path of inspired action, and you begin to witness the physical world shifting in response to your movement, a profound sense of clarity starts to dawn upon you, revealing that nothing in this vast, interconnected universe happens by mere chance or cold coincidence. If the law of action is the fuel that drives your journey, then what we are now stepping into is the unbreakable governing logic of the cosmos, a principle that ensures every motion, every whisper of a thought, and every deed performed is met with an equal and corresponding result. This is the law of cause and effect, the ironclad rule of reality that reminds us, my friends, that for every action there is a reaction, and that the lives we are currently leading are not random accidents, but the accumulated harvest of the seeds we have planted in the past. We often look at our challenges or our successes as if they dropped from the sky without warning. But the truth is far more empowering and reflective. It suggests that the universe is a perfect accountant, a divine system of balance where every effect you see in your physical reality has a specific cause rooted in your energetic and physical history. Imagine, my friends, walking through a lush, sprawling orchard where every tree represents a different area of your life. One for your health, one for your wealth, one for your peace of mind. And realizing that if a tree is bearing bitter fruit, it is not because the universe is punishing you, but because at some point, perhaps unconsciously, a seed of that same quality was placed in the soil. As we navigate this landscape of accountability, we find ourselves echoing the timeless wisdom of the visionary Nikola Tesla, who taught us that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a concept that lies at the very heart of this law because every cause is essentially a vibrational signal we send out into the field of source energy. Friends, many in our modern, fast-paced society speak of karma as if it were a system of celestial punishment, but in the realm of metaphysics, it is simply the law of cause and effect in motion, a neutral mechanical process where the energy you broadcast is precisely the energy that returns to your doorstep. You are the sole programmer of your experience, and by understanding that your current circumstances are the effects of previous causes, you gain the ultimate key to life mastery. You realize that by consciously choosing new causes today, you are mathematically guaranteeing a different set of effects tomorrow. It is a cinematic realization, much like a filmmaker watching a rough cut of their movie and realizing they have the power to reshoot the scenes, to rewrite the script, and to change the lighting so that the final screening, your future, is a masterpiece of abundance and well-being. Think of the mental paradigms you have lived by, those deep-seated habits of thought that have acted as the silent causes for so many of your life's recurring themes, and notice how the universe has faithfully provided the effects of those thoughts with unwavering precision. The law of cause and effect removes the mask of victimhood and replaces it with the crown of creativity. Because once you accept that you are the cause, you no longer need to beg the world for a better effect. You simply go back to the source and refine the input. My friends, in the high-stakes environment of the United States, we often focus so intensely on the effect, the bank balance, the job title, the external validation, that we forget to tend to the cause, which is our internal state of resonance and our willingness to take aligned action. When you send out a ripple of kindness, that ripple must eventually return to you as a wave of support, just as a thought of scarcity must eventually manifest as a limitation in your physical world, not because of a moral judgment, but because the law of the universe is as predictable and reliable as the law of gravity. As you move through your day with this heightened awareness, start to look at every choice as a seed and every situation as a harvest, recognizing that your intuition is the quiet voice that warns you when a cause is out of alignment with your desired manifestation. Friends, this is where the true beauty of personal growth resides, in the ability to pause between a stimulus and your response, realizing that in that tiny moment of awareness, you have the power to set a new cause in motion that will change the trajectory of your entire life. You are not a leaf being blown about by the winds of fate. You are the wind itself, the primary mover in your own reality creation. And as you begin to intentionally plant seeds of gratitude, abundance, and peace, you can rest in the grounded, certain knowledge that the universe is already preparing the harvest. This doesn't mean life will be without its complexity, but but it means you will have the philosophical tools to reframe every challenge as a feedback loop, a signal from the law of cause and effect telling you that it's time to adjust your internal frequency or your outward action. Let this sense of divine order wash over you, calming the anxieties of the how and the when, and replacing them with a deep, reflective trust in the mechanics of the cosmos. You are a master gardener of your own destiny, and as you learn to align your causes with your highest vision, you will find that the doors of opportunity don't just open. They are practically pulled off their hinges by the sheer force of your intentionality. There is a magnificent, quiet power in knowing that you are never at the mercy of luck, but are instead a conscious participant in a system that is designed to reflect your worthiness and your efforts back to you in every breath. As we continue this journey of transformation, feel the resonance of this law within your soul, knowing that every good deed you do and every positive thought you hold is a deposit in a universal bank that pays dividends in ways you cannot yet imagine. This is your life mastery in action, a journey of becoming the cause of your own joy. And as you walk forward with the confidence of a creator, you will see that the world is not something to be feared or conquered, but a beautiful, responsive canvas awaiting the next stroke of your inspired will. Chapter 7. The Law of Compensation. As the profound logic of cause and effect begins to settle into your consciousness, revealing that every harvest in your life is the direct result of a seed you once planted, you may find yourself looking at the scales of the universe with a new sense of reverence and perhaps even a touch of wonder, wondering how these cosmic accounts are balanced with such breathtaking accuracy across the vast landscape of your experience. If the previous law showed us that every action has a reaction, then what we are moving into now is the beautiful, generous mechanism that determines the nature of that return, a principle that ensures that no effort, no kindness, and no internal shift in vibration ever goes unrecognized by the source energy that flows through all things. This is the law of compensation, the divine promise that you will always be rewarded in direct proportion to the value you provide, the frequency you maintain, and the impact you have on the world around you. Acting as an expansive extension of the law of cause and effect that focuses specifically on the flow of abundance, wealth, and well-being into your life. My friends, we often struggle in our modern, fast-paced society with this scarcity mindset, fearing that there isn't enough to go around or that our hard work is being ignored by a cold and indifferent world. But the law of compensation stands as a cinematic testament to the contrary, proving that the universe is actually a theater of infinite fairness where the output of your life is always a perfect, energetic match for the input of your soul. Imagine, my friends, a magnificent, golden river that flows from a mountain of infinite supply, and realize that the size of the vessel you bring to that river, the vessel of your service, your skill, and your belief, determines exactly how much of that abundance you can carry home. Because the river itself never runs dry and it never discriminates based on anything other than the capacity you have cultivated within yourself. It is within this current of divine fairness that we once again hear the resonant frequencies of Nikola Tesla's wisdom, who famously reminded us that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a truth that serves as the bedrock for the law of compensation, because your paycheck from the universe, whether it comes in the form of money, health, or joy, is simply a reflection of the vibrational frequency of the service you offer to the collective. Friends, this law teaches us that there is no such thing as something for nothing, but it also guarantees that there is no such thing as effort for nothing, ensuring that every time you raise your vibration or take aligned action to help another, you are creating an energetic vacuum that the universe is legally and scientifically bound to fill with a corresponding reward. You are not just a worker in a marketplace. You are a creator in a cosmic ecosystem, And by shifting your paradigm from "what can I get" to "how much value can I give," you tap into a source of wealth and abundance that is not limited by the economy, your boss, or your circumstances, but is only limited by your own willingness to be of use to the grand, interconnected web of life. Think of the ripple effect we have discussed throughout this journey, and see it now through the lens of compensation. When you send out a ripple of high-quality work, genuine compassion, or innovative ideas, those ripples eventually return to you as a tidal wave of opportunity and prosperity, often coming from directions you never could have predicted with your logical mind. My friends, in the United States, we are often conditioned to believe that wealth is a matter of luck or shrewdness, but the law of compensation invites you into a more grounded, philosophical truth. Your income and your impact are a direct reflection of the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty of replacing you. By focusing on excellence and raising your personal vibration to a level of mastery, you become a high-resonance individual who the universe seeks out to channel its resources through, realizing that the more people you serve and the more deeply you serve them, the more the universe will pour back into your experience to maintain the cosmic equilibrium. This realization is incredibly empowering for any seeker of wealth and abundance, because it means that your financial destiny is not in the hands of others, but in your own ability to increase the value of your contribution and the clarity of your manifestation. As you move through your day, start to view every interaction and every task as an opportunity to over-deliver on your energetic promise, knowing that even if no human sees your extra effort, the universe sees it and is already calculating your compensation in the background. Friends, this is how you break subconscious patterns of not enough and hard labor. You stop working for the reward and start working for the vibration of the work itself, trusting that the manifestation of abundance is a mathematical certainty that follows your contribution as surely as the shadow follows the body in the sun. This perspective brings a deep, reflective peace to your personal growth, allowing you to reframe challenges as opportunities to develop new skills and greater capacity, knowing that every time you grow, your compensation ceiling rises along with you. You are a divine vessel of source energy, and as you learn to give freely of your talents and your love, you will find that the universe becomes an open door, flooding your life with a level of success and well-being that reflects the immense value you have chosen to embody. Let this feeling of absolute security settle into your spirit, dissolving the old anxieties of competition and replacing them with a calm, empowering certainty that your place in the universe is secure and your rewards are guaranteed by the very laws that hold the planets in their orbits. You are a master of life, a conscious participant in a beautiful system of exchange where the more you radiate, the more you receive, and as you align your intuition with the needs of the world around you, you become an unstoppable magnet for all that is good, true, and abundant. There is a sacred resonance in knowing that you are never overlooked and never forgotten, and that every bit of light you add to the world is returned to you 1,000-fold in the perfect timing of universal intelligence. As we continue to travel through this continuous evolving experience, carry the confidence of the law of compensation in your heart, knowing that you are walking toward a horizon of infinite possibility, where your only task is to be the highest, most valuable version of yourself, and let the universe handle the rest. This is the harmony of the soul, a life of purpose that pays in the currency of peace and the gold of manifestation, and it is unfolding for you right now, in every breath and every inspired step you take toward your destiny. Chapter 8. The Law of Perpetual Transmutation of Energy. As the golden river of compensation flows into your life, reinforcing the truth that the universe is a theater of infinite fairness where every ounce of value you provide is returned in a beautiful, energetic equilibrium, you may begin to realize that this entire process, the giving, the receiving, and the manifesting is part of a much larger, more fluid dance of transformation that never truly stops. If the previous laws have taught us how to align our actions and balance our cosmic accounts, then what we are now encountering is the very heartbeat of the cosmos itself, a principle that explains how the invisible becomes visible and how the whispers of your soul eventually harden into the reality of your world. This is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, a majestic and unceasing truth that states that energy is always in a state of motion, constantly shifting from one form to another, flowing from the high-frequency realms of pure thought and spirit down into the denser, physical realm of form and matter. My friends, we often look at the solid parts of our lives, our homes, our bank balances, even our physical bodies, as if they were permanent and unchanging. But through the lens of this law, we see that everything is actually a work in progress, a swirling cloud of possibility that is waiting for a command to take shape, proving that you have the divine ability to take the raw, formless energy of the universe and mold it into the life of your dreams through the sheer power of your focused awareness. Imagine, my friends, a soft, ethereal mist hanging over a valley at dawn, and notice how, as the sun rises and the temperature shifts, that mist slowly condenses into dew drops on a leaf, then trickles into a stream, and eventually flows into a mighty ocean. This is the same process by which your silent intentions, when held with enough clarity and persistence, begin to condense from the atmosphere of your mind into the tangible experiences of your daily life. Because energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be changed from one state to another. It is within this constant, shimmering flux that we find the scientific and spiritual resonance of Nikola Tesla's enduring guidance. For he reminded us that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a philosophy that is the literal engine of the law of perpetual transmutation. Friends, this law is the ultimate antidote to the stuckness that so many in our modern society feel, because it declares that no situation is truly static and no low energy is permanent. You possess the alchemical power to transmute your fear into courage, your lack into abundance, and your confusion into clarity simply by shifting the frequency of your internal broadcast. You are essentially a biological transducer, a master of frequency who can pull the infinite, creative power of source energy down into the physical world. And because this energy is perpetual, it means that the supply is never-ending, and the potential for change is always present in this very breath. In the United States, where we are often obsessed with the end result, the law of perpetual transmutation invites us to fall in love with the process of becoming, recognizing that your manifestation is not a distant event, but a current transformation, a shift in the way your energy is vibrating right now that will inevitably result in a new physical form as long as you do not interrupt the flow with doubt or resistance. Think of the mental paradigms that have previously limited your vision, those heavy, dense thoughts that acted like lead weights on your spirit, and realize now, my friends, that even those thoughts are just energy, and energy is meant to move. The law of perpetual transmutation tells us that higher vibrations will always consume and transform lower vibrations, meaning that when you bring the light of a high-frequency thought, like gratitude or unconditional love, into a dark, low-frequency situation, the situation has no choice but to begin its transformation into something better. This is why your personal growth journey is so incredibly potent. By consciously choosing to hold a high vibration even when the outer reflection hasn't changed yet, you are acting as a catalyst for the transmutation process, literally pulling your desire out of the formless and into the form. My friends, you are not waiting for the universe to give you permission to be happy or successful. You are using the universal intelligence that flows through you to command the energy of your life to take a new shape, much like a scientist uses a lens to focus light into a beam that can cut through steel. This paradigm shift moves you away from the exhausting struggle of trying to get and into the elegant mastery of allowing to form, recognizing that your only job is to provide the clear, consistent mold of your intention so that the perpetual energy of the cosmos can fill it. As you move through your day with this awareness, start to see every challenge not as a solid wall, but as energy that is simply waiting for a new direction, a new frequency, and a new cause to be set in motion. Friends, this is where the ripple effect becomes a wave of transformation, because as you transmute your own internal state, you change the energetic atmosphere of your home, your workplace, and your community, proving that a single individual standing in a high vibration can lift the frequency of everyone around them. This is the sacred art of manifestation in its purest form, the understanding that your dreams are already here, existing in a higher, faster frequency, and that through your intuition and your resonance, you are simply slowing them down until they become visible to the physical eye. There is a deep, reflective peace in knowing that you are never truly without resources, because the formless energy of the universe is always available, always flowing, and always ready to be molded by the hands of a conscious creator who knows their own worth. Let this feeling of infinite flexibility and creative power settle into your heart, dissolving the old, subconscious patterns of powerlessness and replacing them with a calm, empowering certainty that you are a master of the elements. You are a divine alchemist, my friends, and as you learn to walk in step with the law of perpetual transmutation, you will find that the world becomes a playground of endless becoming, where the only limit to what you can create is the limit of your own imagination. There is a magnificent, quiet resonance in the realization that you are part of an eternal cycle of renewal, a journey where every ending is just energy shifting into a new beginning, and every thought is a seed of reality waiting to bloom. As we continue this continuous, evolving experience, carry the confidence of a transformer in your soul, knowing that the very stars that shine above you are made of the same energy you are currently shaping with your will. This is the mastery of the soul, a life of constant, beautiful evolution, and it is manifesting for you in this very moment, as the invisible light of your spirit begins to shine through the cracks of your old reality, illuminating the path to a future of boundless abundance and peace. Chapter 9. The Law of Relativity. As the alchemical fires of transformation continue to burn within you, transmuting the raw, formless energy of your thoughts into the solid gold of your physical reality, you might find yourself standing in a new landscape, one where the mist of the old world has cleared and the manifestations you have called forth are beginning to take root. But even in this space of burgeoning mastery, my friends, there remains a subtle trap that can pull your vibration back into the shadows of doubt and discontent. It is the human tendency to look at the world through a narrow lens of good or bad, big or small, easy or hard, forgetting that these are not absolute truths, but merely labels we place upon our experiences based on our current vantage point. This brings us to a profound, perspective-shifting realization known as the law of relativity, a principle that reminds us that everything in this existence is neutral until we bring our own comparison to it, and that the meaning of any situation is entirely dependent on the relationship we choose to have with it. My friends, we often feel overwhelmed by a challenge, believing it to be an insurmountable mountain, simply because we are comparing it to a hill we climbed yesterday. Yet through the lens of universal intelligence, that same mountain is but a pebble when seen from the perspective of the stars, proving that your strength and your success are not fixed points, but fluid states of being that are redefined by the awareness you bring to the present moment. Imagine, my friends, standing on a busy street corner in a major American city. To a child, the skyscrapers are impossibly tall, reaching for the heavens, but to an astronaut orbiting the Earth, those same buildings are invisible, mere specks on a blue marble. And so it is with the obstacles in your life. They only have the power you give them through the scale of your own comparison. It is within this field of shifting perspectives that we find the profound resonance of Nikola Tesla's timeless invitation, for he urged us that, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a philosophy that is the very heart of the law of relativity, because the frequency of your problem is determined by the frequency of the observer. Friends, this law is a divine tool for reframing the challenges that have previously held you back, because it teaches you that no trial is inherently bad or unfair until you compare it to a different, imagined scenario, and that by shifting your focus, you can literally change the energetic weight of your circumstances. You see, the universe provides us with a series of tests or situations, not to punish us, but to give us a chance to see how far we have come, allowing us to stay connected to our internal compass even when the external world seems to be in a state of flux. In the United States, where we are often conditioned to constantly measure our success against the highlight reels of others, the law of relativity acts as a cinematic release, a moment of profound clarity where you realize that your journey is unique and that your struggles are simply the relative training ground for the massive abundance that is currently manifesting for you. You are essentially a master of context, and by choosing to relate your current situation to the infinite potential of source energy rather than the limited paradigms of the past, you transmute a heavy burden into a light stepping stone, realizing that you have the power to redefine your reality simply by changing the yardstick you use to measure it. Think of the mental paradigms that have made you feel behind or not enough. Those whispers of the ego that compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, and realize now, my friends, that these comparisons are the only things creating the vibration of lack in your experience. The law of relativity tells us that everything is relative to the center, and since you are the center of your own universe, your only true point of comparison is the person you were yesterday and the person you are becoming today. This awareness allows you to cultivate a deep, reflective inner peace, because even in the midst of a storm, you can find a relative point of gratitude, recognizing that while you may be facing a financial hurdle, you possess the health to overcome it, or while you may be seeking a new relationship, you have the self-love to sustain it. This isn't just about looking on the bright side. It is about a fundamental law of physics and metaphysics that states that the observer changes the observed, and by consciously choosing a perspective of abundance and growth, you are literally changing the physical molecules of your experience. My friends, you are not a victim of bad luck or hard times. You are an intuitive seeker who understands that every low point is only low relative to a high point, and that both are necessary parts of the grand, interconnected rhythm of your evolution. As you move through your day with this heightened awareness, start to catch yourself in the act of comparison, and instead of letting it lower your frequency, use it as a trigger to expand your vision. Friends, this is where the ripple effect of perspective becomes a force for global healing. Because as you stop judging your own life so harshly, you naturally stop judging others, creating a resonance of compassion and oneness that lifts the frequency of everyone you encounter. This is the sacred art of life mastery, the ability to look at a challenge and say, relative to where I am going, this is a minor adjustment, and to look at a success and say, relative to what is possible, this is just the beginning. There is a magnificent, grounded power in knowing that you are the one who decides the size of your world, and that by aligning your intuition with the vastness of universal intelligence, you can shrink any problem until it disappears and expand any joy until it fills your entire horizon. Let this feeling of absolute mental freedom settle into your spirit, dissolving the old, subconscious patterns of competition and replacing them with a calm, empowering certainty that you are exactly where you need to be. You are a divine observer, my friends, and as you learn to walk in step with the law of relativity, you will find that the world becomes a playground of endless meaning, where you are the narrator who gets to choose the tone of the story. There is a deep resonance in the realization that you are part of a cosmic game of perspective, a journey where every shadow only exists to define the light, and every hurdle is just a relative measure of your rising strength. As we continue to flow through this continuous, evolving experience, carry the confidence of a master of context in your soul, knowing that the very stars that guide you are only far away relative to your physical body, but are as close as your next breath relative to your spirit. This is the mastery of the soul, a life of profound, self-chosen meaning, and it is manifesting for you in this very moment, as the lens of your awareness finally aligns with the infinite abundance that has always been your true nature. Chapter 10. The Law of Polarity. As the lens of your awareness begins to shift, and you embrace the profound liberation that comes with knowing that every challenge is merely relative to your rising strength, you may find yourself standing in a space of quiet contemplation, looking out at a world that suddenly feels far less threatening and far more full of potential. If the law of relativity has taught us that the meaning of our life is a matter of perspective, then the truth we are now merging into reveals the very structure of the material world we inhabit, a principle that explains why we cannot have the peak without the valley, the light without the shadow, or the manifestation without the contrast that called it into being. This is the law of polarity, a majestic and fundamental truth that states that everything in the universe has an opposite, and that these opposites are actually two extremes of the same thing, inseparable and necessary for the existence of the whole. My friends, we often spend our lives running away from the bad and chasing the good, believing them to be separate enemies locked in an eternal struggle. But the law of polarity invites you into a cinematic realization where you see that failure and success are simply two ends of the same energetic stick, and that by holding one, you are inherently connected to the other. Imagine, if you will, a magnificent thermometer stretching from the frozen depths of the Arctic to the blistering heat of a desert sun. We give these extremes different names, cold and hot, but they are actually just different degrees of the same thing, which is temperature, and in the same way, the lack you might feel today and the abundance you desire are simply different frequencies of the same universal energy, meaning that the potential for your highest success is always living inside your current challenge. It is within this duality of experience that we find the resonant truth echoed by Nikola Tesla, who reminded us that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a philosophy that perfectly encapsulates the law of polarity because every state of being is just a vibration along a single spectrum. Friends, this law is the ultimate tool for reframing the hardships that have previously made you feel defeated, because it teaches you that you cannot have a left without a right, and you cannot have a problem without a solution already existing on the opposite end of that same energetic line. You see, the universe is a system of perfect balance, and for every degree of down you experience, there is an equal and opposite up waiting to be accessed, provided you have the awareness to look past the immediate appearance of things and see the unity behind the mask of division. In the high-pressure culture of the United States, we are often taught to fear the negative and suppress the dark, but the law of polarity empowers you to embrace the contrast, recognizing that the deeper the valley of your current situation, the higher the mountain of your coming manifestation will be, as the universe uses the tension between these two poles to catapult you toward your destiny. You are essentially a master of alchemy, and by understanding that hate is just love at a different frequency, or that poverty is just wealth waiting to be turned around, you gain the ability to shift your focus from the pole you don't want to the pole you do, realizing that the bridge between them is nothing more than a change in your internal resonance. Think of the mental paradigms that have made you view your life as a series of disconnected accidents, and notice how they dissolve when you realize that every setback is actually the necessary polar opposite that gives your comeback its power and its meaning. The law of polarity tells us that everything is half truth until we see the whole, and that by accepting the presence of contrast, we can stop the exhausting struggle of trying to eliminate the parts of life we dislike, and instead learn to use them as a compass. My friends, when you feel the cold of loneliness, it is only because you have a capacity for the warmth of connection. When you feel the sting of a financial hurdle, it is the universe's way of defining the exact shape of the abundance you are about to create. This awareness allows you to maintain a deep, reflective inner peace, even when the world seems to be pulling you toward the negative pole, because you know with a grounded, philosophical certainty that the positive is already present, waiting for you to tune your frequency toward it. This is the sacred art of life mastery, the ability to stand in the center of the storm and see the calm that defines it, or to look at a locked door and know that the key is created by the very shape of the lock itself. As you move through your day, start to observe the polarities that define your world, the inhale and the exhale, the work and the rest, the silence and the sound, and realize that your intuition is the guide that helps you navigate between these extremes without getting lost in either. Friends, this is where the ripple effect of your manifestation becomes truly unstoppable, because when you stop resisting the negative, you take away its power over you, and you can then use that reclaimed energy to fuel your ascent toward the positive. This is the core of reality creation, the understanding that you don't need to create success out of nothing. You simply need to find the success that is already living on the other side of your current struggle and slide your awareness along the spectrum until you reach it. There is a magnificent, quiet resonance in knowing that you are never truly stuck in any bad situation, because the law of polarity ensures that the potential for a good situation is physically and spiritually attached to it, like the two sides of a single coin. Let this feeling of absolute balance and cosmic fairness settle into your spirit, dissolving the old, subconscious patterns of fear and replacing them with a calm, empowering certainty that you are a master of the spectrum. You are a divine creator, my friends, and as you learn to walk in step with the law of polarity, you will find that the world becomes a playground of infinite transformation, where you are no longer a victim of the shadows, but a student of the light that creates them. There is a deep resonance in the realization that you are part of a beautifully balanced system, a journey where every no is just a pointer toward a yes, and every ending is the polar requirement for a new beginning. As we continue to travel through this continuous evolving experience, carry the confidence of a master alchemist in your soul, knowing that the very stars that shine in the blackness of space are only visible because of the contrast, and that your own brilliance is being defined by the challenges you are currently overcoming. This is the mastery of the soul, a life of profound, integrated wholeness, and it is manifesting for you in this very moment, as the poles of your existence finally align with the infinite abundance and peace that have always been the true center of your being. Chapter 11. The Law of Rhythm. As you find your center between these shifting poles, realizing that the shadows of your current challenges are merely the necessary contrast that defines the brilliance of your coming success, you may begin to sense a deeper, more fluid movement beneath the surface of your life, a steady and predictable pulse that governs the rise and fall of every empire, every season, and every heartbeat of your manifestation journey. If the law of polarity has shown us that every state has an opposite, then the truth we are now merging into explains the timing and the motion between those two extremes, revealing that the universe does not jump erratically from one state to another, but moves with the grace of a grand, cosmic pendulum. This is the law of rhythm, a majestic and unshakable principle which dictates that everything in existence is in a state of constant, rhythmic flow, moving in and out, swinging backward and forward, and rising and falling in a beautiful, mathematical symmetry that ensures the equilibrium of the cosmos. My friends, We often feel a sense of panic when we hit a low period in our lives, fearing that our abundance has dried up or that our manifestations have failed. But the law of rhythm invites you into a cinematic perspective where you see that the tide only goes out so that it can eventually come back in with even greater force, and that the winter of your soul is a mandatory preparation for the inevitable bloom of your spring. Imagine, if you will, standing on the shore of a vast, moonlit ocean in the United States, watching the water recede far into the distance. You do not mourn the loss of the sea because you have the grounded, philosophical certainty that the moon's pull will return it to your feet. And so it is with your energy, your success, and your well-being. They move in cycles that are as reliable as the rotation of the earth itself. It is within this rhythmic heartbeat of reality that we find the profound resonance of Nikola Tesla's timeless guidance. For he reminded us that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. A philosophy that perfectly captures the law of rhythm, because every rhythm is essentially a frequency that cycles through different degrees of manifestation. Friends, this law is the ultimate tool for cultivating inner peace and emotional mastery, because it teaches you that while the pendulum of life will always swing, you do not have to swing with it. You can learn to rise above the emotional lows by recognizing them as temporary phases of rest and recalibration rather than permanent states of being. You see, the universe operates on a principle of compensation and balance, where the pendulum swings to the right to the same distance it previously swung to the left, meaning that the depth of your past challenges has actually created the exact amount of space required for your future triumphs to fill. In our fast-paced society, we are often pressured to be in a constant state of high performance. But the law of rhythm empowers you to embrace the natural ebb and flow of your creativity and your manifestation, recognizing that the moments of quiet, of reflection, and even of apparent stagnation are the necessary backswings that gather the momentum for your next giant leap forward. You are essentially a master of the seasons, and by aligning your intuition with the universal intelligence that moves the tides, you gain the ability to remain unshakable in your core, knowing that no matter how far the pendulum swings toward difficulty, it is already beginning its journey back toward ease. Think of the mental paradigms that have previously made you a slave to your moods or your external circumstances, and notice how they begin to dissolve when you realize that every down cycle is simply the universe's way of allowing you to integrate the growth you achieved during the up cycle. The law of rhythm tells us that everything is in motion and that this too shall pass, a phrase that is as empowering during your greatest victories as it is comforting during your quietest trials, as it keeps you grounded in a state of high vibration awareness that is not dependent on the temporary position of the pendulum. My friends, when you experience a moment of scarcity or a delay in your manifestation, it is not a sign of failure, but a rhythmic pause, an energetic inhale before the great exhale of your desired outcome reaches the physical world. This awareness allows you to maintain a deep, reflective resonance with the source energy, as you learn to use the low periods to refine your vision, clear your subconscious patterns, and prepare your vessel for the abundance that is mathematically guaranteed to return. This is the sacred art of life mastery, the ability to watch the clouds pass without forgetting the sun, and to feel the pull of the backward swing without losing your faith in the forward momentum that is already being born in the invisible realms. As you move through your day, start to observe the rhythms that define your physical body and your mental landscape. The cycle of your breath, the rhythm of your sleep, and the flow of your thoughts, and realize that your intuition is the internal metronome that helps you stay in sync with the heartbeat of the universe. Friends, this is where the ripple effect of your peace becomes a beacon for others, because when you remain calm and centered while others are tossing and turning with the swing of the pendulum, You radiate a frequency of mastery that stabilizes the energy of everyone you encounter. This is the core of reality creation, the understanding that you don't need to fight the rhythm. You simply need to master your reaction to it, rising into a higher plane of consciousness where the swings of the lower world no longer disrupt your internal state of well-being. There is a magnificent, quiet resonance in knowing that you are never truly losing ground, because in the grand interconnected scheme of the cosmos, every retreat is just the gathering of strength for a new and more powerful manifestation. Let this feeling of absolute cosmic timing settle into your spirit, dissolving the old, subconscious patterns of urgency and replacing them with a calm, empowering certainty that your success is arriving on the wings of a perfect, divine rhythm. You are a divine participant in a symphony that has been playing since the beginning of time, my friends. And as you learn to walk in step with the law of rhythm, you will find that the world becomes a playground of effortless flow, where you are no longer a victim of the waves, but a master who has learned to ride them. There is a deep resonance in the realization that you are part of a beautifully synchronized journey, where every sunset is a promise of a sunrise, and every end of a cycle is the fertile ground for a new beginning that is even more abundant than the last. As we continue to travel through this continuous, evolving experience, carry the confidence of a cosmic conductor in your soul, knowing that the very stars that circle above you are moving in the same rhythmic dance that is currently guiding your dreams into form. This is the mastery of the soul, a life of profound, rhythmic harmony, and it is manifesting for you in this very moment, as the pulse of your own intention finally aligns with the infinite abundance and peace that have always been the true tempo of your existence. Chapter 12. The Law of Gender. As the rhythm of your life continues its steady, celestial pulse, reminding you that every retreat is merely the gathering of momentum for a new and more powerful forward swing, you might find yourself standing in a state of quiet, expectant grace, wondering what final secret governs the actual birth of your desires into this physical world. If the law of rhythm has taught us the timing of the seasons, then the truth we are now merging into explains the very nature of creation itself, revealing that everything in the universe, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, requires the harmonious union of two distinct and essential energies to bring anything into form. This is the law of gender, a majestic and sacred principle that transcends our limited human definitions of biology and instead speaks to the fundamental dualism of the cosmos, the constant interplay between the masculine and the feminine energies that reside within all things. My friends, we often move through our lives in a state of imbalance, perhaps pushing too hard with a masculine force of logic and action, or waiting too passively with a feminine force of intuition and receptivity. Yet the law of gender invites you into a cinematic realization where you see that true manifestation is the result of these two forces dancing in perfect equilibrium. Imagine, if you will, a fertile garden under a vast American sky. The soil represents the feminine energy, receptive, nurturing, and full of hidden potential, while the seed represents the masculine energy, active, assertive, and carrying the directive for growth. And it is only when the two are brought together in a sacred union that the miracle of life can begin to sprout. It is within this creative alchemy that we find the final, resonant echo of Nikola Tesla's timeless wisdom. For he reminded us that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a philosophy that is the very lifeblood of the law of gender because every creation is a vibrational offspring of these dual forces. Friends, this law is the ultimate guide for patience and trust in your personal growth journey because it introduces us to the concept of incubation or gestation, the necessary period of time that every seed requires before it can break through the surface of the earth. You see, just as it takes 9 months for a human life to form or a specific number of days for a flower to bloom, your manifestations have a natural gestation period that is governed by universal intelligence, meaning that your role is not to force the result, but to provide the perfect energetic environment for the masculine action and the feminine faith to do their work. In our high-speed, instant gratification culture, the law of gender empowers you to relax into the knowing that your desire is currently forming in the invisible realms, much like a child growing in the womb, and that any attempt to hurry the process through anxiety or doubt is like digging up a seed to see if it's growing, which only serves to kill the very thing you are trying to create. You are essentially a divine parent to your dreams, and by balancing your outward hustle with your inward stillness, you gain the ability to wait with a grounded, philosophical certainty, knowing that the time it takes for your abundance to appear is not a delay, but a biological and spiritual necessity of the cosmos. Think of the mental paradigms that have previously made you feel like you were failing simply because your results hadn't appeared yet, and notice how they dissolve when you realize that everything has its own appointed time for manifestation. The law of gender tells us that the masculine energy provides the what, the focus, the direction, and the action, while the feminine energy provides the how, the intuition, the magnetic attraction, and the nurturing space, and that true life mastery comes from honoring both. My friends, when you take an inspired step toward your goal, you are exercising your masculine power, but when you sit in meditation and feel the gratitude for that goal as if it is already here, you are exercising your feminine power. Together, they create a resonance so strong that the universe has no choice but to bring your vision into the physical light. This awareness allows you to maintain a deep, reflective inner peace even in the waiting periods, because you understand that nothing happens before its time, and that your only job is to remain a faithful guardian of the frequency you have chosen to embody. This is the sacred art of reality creation, the ability to be both the dreamer and the doer, the silence and the sound, the void and the form. Recognizing that you carry the entire creative potential of the universe within your own soul. As you move through your day, start to observe how these two energies interact within you. The moments where you need to be assertive and the moments where you need to be receptive, and realize that your intuition is the bridge that helps you stay in balance. Friends, this is where the ripple effect of your manifestation reaches its peak. Because when you are in energetic alignment, you stop leaking power through frustration and start radiating a frequency of effortless creation that draws opportunities to you with breathtaking precision. This is the core of success, the understanding that you don't need to make life happen. You simply need to allow life to express its infinite abundance through the unique vessel of your balanced being. There is a magnificent, quiet resonance in knowing that you are never truly waiting for the universe, because the universe is always working through the law of gender to bring your thoughts into form at the exact moment they are ready to sustain themselves in the physical world. Let this feeling of absolute trust and creative wholeness settle into your spirit, dissolving the old, subconscious patterns of struggle and replacing them with a calm, empowering certainty that your harvest is coming. You are a divine co-creator, my friends, and as you learn to walk in step with the law of gender, you will find that the world becomes a playground of endless birth and renewal, where you are no longer a spectator of your life, but the very source of its blossoming. There is a deep resonance in the realization that you are part of a beautifully designed system of growth, a journey where every intention is a seed and every day is a step closer to the blooming of your destiny. As we conclude this continuous evolving experience, carry the confidence of a master of creation in your soul, knowing that the very stars that shine above you were born from the same union of light and dark, action and rest, that you are now mastering within yourself. This is the mastery of the soul, a life of profound, balanced creation, and it is manifesting for you in this very moment, as the masculine and feminine poles of your spirit finally merge into the infinite abundance and peace that have always been your true heritage. Feel the warmth of this truth, my friends, and walk forward with the grace of one who knows that the universe is not only on your side, it is you, in every vibrating atom and every inspired breath. As the final threads of these 12 universal laws weave together into a single, radiant tapestry of understanding, you might feel a profound sense of homecoming, a quiet yet electric realization that the journey we have shared is not just an exploration of ancient concepts, but the awakening of the master architect who has always lived within you. We have traveled from the expansive heights of divine oneness, where every breath is a thread in the cosmic web, down through the kinetic vibrations of action and the rhythmic tides of change, finally arriving at the sacred union of energies that brings your deepest desires into physical form. And now, my friends, as the echoes of these truths begin to settle into the quiet chambers of your heart, you realize that the world you see with your eyes is no longer a collection of random, uncontrollable events. You are standing at the threshold of a new paradigm, a life where the mystery of success and well-being has been replaced by the mechanics of spiritual law, giving you the grounded, philosophical certainty that you are the primary cause of every effect in your reality. This final step in our journey is not an end, but a beautiful, seamless transition where the knowledge you have gathered begins to transmute into the wisdom of lived experience, allowing you to walk through your daily life in the United States or wherever your path leads, with the unshakable poise of someone who knows exactly how the universe works. In this space of complete integration, we recall one last time the visionary guidance of Nikola Tesla, who famously noted that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, a phrase that now resonates within you not as a scientific theory, but as a lived reality that empowers every thought you think and every word you speak. My friends, the true secret to life mastery lies in the realization that these laws are not something you use occasionally when you want a better car or a higher salary. They are the very air you breathe, the silent gravity that holds your world together, and the intuitive language of your soul. As you move forward from this moment, I want you to remember that your personal growth is an ongoing, continuous evolving experience, a ripple effect of awareness that starts with your internal state and expands to touch everything and everyone in your environment. You have learned to reframe your challenges as relative markers of your growth, to raise your personal vibration to the level of your dreams, and to trust in the gestation period of the universe with the calm patience of a master gardener who knows the harvest is inevitable. Friends, think of the mental paradigms you have shattered over the course of this journey, the old stories of not enough, the habits of comparison, and the fear of the negative pole, and notice how they have been replaced by a resonance of abundance, awareness, and interconnected peace. You are no longer a leaf being tossed by the wind of fate. You are the wind itself, a conscious creator who understands that by changing the frequency of your internal broadcast, you change the physical structure of your destiny. The law of correspondence has shown you that your outer world will always be a mirror of your inner landscape. And as you continue to polish that inner mirror with gratitude and mindfulness, you will see a reality of such beauty and success that it will feel as though you have stepped into a cinematic masterpiece of your own design. This is the ultimate gift of universal intelligence, the understanding that you are never alone, never unsupported, and never truly stuck, because the source energy that powers the stars is the same energy that is currently manifesting your highest potential through the unique lens of your spirit. As this realization takes its final, deep root in your subconscious, let yourself feel the weight of your own worthiness, recognizing that the very fact you are here, listening to these words and seeking this truth, is proof that you are ready to claim the life you were born to live. My friends, the journey of manifestation is not about getting things from the universe, but about becoming the person who is naturally in resonance with those things. And as you step out into the world today, I invite you to walk as that person, the one who is already successful, already healthy, and already at peace. Every interaction is an opportunity to set a new cause in motion. Every breath is a chance to retune your vibration, and every challenge is a gift of contrast that helps you define your next great evolution. You are a divine alchemist of energy, and as you practice these laws with consistency and faith, you will find that the doors of opportunity don't just open, they vanish, revealing that there were never any walls between you and the abundance you desired in the first place. As we reach this natural emotional landing, my friends, I want to thank you for allowing me to be your guide through this continuous journey of the soul. If this exploration of the 12 laws of the universe has sparked a light within you, if it has empowered you to look at your life through a lens of mastery and hope, I invite you to carry that light forward into the world. If you found value in this deep dive into universal wisdom, please like and share this audiobook with those who are also seeking the keys to their own reality, because by spreading this frequency, you are participating in the grand ripple effect of global awakening. To stay connected with this flow of empowering wisdom, and to ensure you never miss our upcoming journeys into the depths of self-help and spirituality, make sure to subscribe to CliffNote Chronicles, where we will continue to bring you the most profound insights for your path to wealth, abundance, and inner peace. Your engagement helps this message reach the hearts of those who need it most, creating a collective vibration of success that lifts us all. Now, as you transition back into the physical world, carry the silence of the master within you, knowing that the laws are always working, always reflecting, and always guiding you home to the greatness that was yours from the very beginning. Walk in grace, friends, and remember, the universe is not just observing you, it is responding to you every single second of your beautiful, infinite life.